In 1946 London, Mr. Robert Chiltern, a well-respected businessman, must hide the fact that he has built his entire life on trading political secrets, even from his wife. His closest friend, Arthur Goring, the head of a prominent crime family, is determined to help him. However, this is all upturned when an old flame of Goring's, Laura Cheveley, stumbles upon a letter that will expose all of Chiltern's misdoings. A vindictive woman, she will do whatever it takes to accrue power, and she isn't above a little blackmail herself.
Good evening, Lord Goring.
Great heavens. Mrs. Cheveley, may I ask what you were doing in my drawing room?
Merely listening. I have a perfect passion for listening through keyholes. One always hears such wonderful things through them.
Doesn't that sound rather like tempting Providence?
Oh, surely Providence can resist temptation by this time.
I'm glad you have called. I'm going to give you some good advice.
Oh, pray don't. One should never give a woman anything that she can't wear in the evening.
I see you're quite as willful as you used to be.
Far more. I have greatly improved. I have had more experience.
Too much experience is a dangerous thing. Pray, have a cigarette. Half the pretty women in London smoke cigarettes. Personally, I prefer the other half.
Thanks. I never smoke. My dressmaker wouldn't like it. And a woman's first duty in life is to a dressmaker, isn't it? What the second duty is, no one has yet discovered.
You've come to sell me Robert Chiltern's letter, haven't you?
Offered to you, on conditions. How did you guess that?
Because you haven't mentioned the subject. Have you got it with you?
Oh no, a well-made dress has no pockets.
What is your price for it?
How absurdly English you are. The English think that a checkbook can solve every problem in life. Why, my dear Arthur, I have very much more money than you have, and far more than Robert Chiltern has got hold of. Money is not what I want.
What do you want then, Mrs. Cheveley?
Why don't you call me Laura?
I don't like the name.
You used to adore it.
Yes, that's why.
Arthur, you loved me once,
Yes.
and you asked me to be your wife.
That was the natural result of my loving you.
And you threw me over because you saw, or said you saw, poor old Lord Mortlake trying to have a violent flirtation with me in the conservatory at 10 bar.
I am under the impression that my lawyer settled that matter with you on certain terms, dictated by yourself.
At the time I was poor, you were rich.
Quite so. That is why you pretended to love me.
I loved you, Arthur.
My dear Mrs. Cheveley, you have always been far too clever to know anything about love.
I did love you, and you loved me. You know you loved me, and love is a very wonderful thing. I suppose that when a man has once loved a woman, he will do anything for her, except continue to love her.
Yes, except that.
I want to come back to London. If one could only teach the English how to talk, and the Irish how to listen, society here would be quite civilized. When I saw you last night at the Chilterns, I knew you were the only person I'd ever cared for. If I've cared for anybody, Arthur. And so, on the morning of the day you marry me, I will give you Robert Chiltern's letter. That is my offer. I will give it you now, if you promise to marry me.
Now?
Tomorrow.
Are you serious?
Yes, quite serious.
I should make you a very bad husband.
I don't mind bad husbands. I have had two. They amused me immensely.
You mean that you amused yourself immensely, don't you?
What do you know about my married life?
Nothing. But I can read it like a book.
What book?
The Book of Numbers.
Do you think it is quite charming to be so rude to a woman in your own house?
In the case of very fascinating women, sex is a challenge, not a defense.
I suppose that is meant for compliments. My dear Arthur, women are never disarmed by compliments. Men always are. That's the difference between the two sexes.
Women are never disarmed by anything as far as I know.
And you are going to allow your greatest friend, Robert Chiltern, to be prudent rather than marry someone who has considerable attractions left. thought you would have risen to some great height of self-sacrifice, Arthur. I think you should. And the rest of your life you can spend in contemplating your own perfection.
I do that enough as it is. And self-sacrifice is a thing that should be put down by law. It is so demoralizing to the people for whom one sacrifices oneself. They always go to the bad.
As if anything to demoralize Robert Chiltern. You seem to forget I know his real character.
What you know of him is not his real character. It was an act of folly done in his youth. Dishonourable, I admit. Shameful, I admit. Unworthy of him, I admit, and therefore not his real character.
How you men stand up for each other?
How you women war against each other.
I only war against one woman. Against Gertrude Chiltern. I hate her. I hate her now more than ever.
Because you have brought a real tragedy into her life, I suppose.
Oh, there is only one real tragedy in a woman's life. The fact that her past is always her lover, future invariably her husband.
Lady Chiltern knows nothing of the kind of life to which you are alluding.
Well, Arthur, I suppose this romantic interview may be regarded as at an end. You admit it was romantic, don't you? For the privilege of being your wife, I was ready to surrender a great prize. The climax of my diplomatic career. You decline. Very well. If Sir Robert doesn't uphold my Argentine scheme, I'll expose him. Voila.
You mustn't do that. It would be vile, horrible, infamous.
Oh, don't use such big words. They mean so little. It is a commercial transaction. That is all. There's no good mixing up sentimentality in it. I offer to sell Robert Chiltern a certain thing. If he won't pay me my price, he will have to pay the world a greater price. There's no more to be said. I must go. Goodbye. Won't you shake hands?
With you? No. Your transaction with Robert Chiltern may pass as a loathsome commercial transaction of a loathsome commercial age, but you seem to forget that you came here tonight to talk of love. You, whose lips desecrated the word love. You, to whom the thing is a book closely sealed, came this afternoon to the house of one of the most noble and gentle women in the world to try and degrade her husband in her eyes, try and kill her love for him, to put poison in her heart and bitterness in her life, to break her idol and maybe spoil her soul. That I cannot forgive you. That was horrible. For that there can be no forgiveness.
Arthur, you are unjust to me. Believe me, you are quite unjust to me. I didn't go to taunt Gertrude at all. I had no idea of doing anything of the kind when I entered. I called with Lady Markaby to simply ask if an ornament, a jewel that I lost somewhere last night, had been found at the Chilterns. If you don't believe me, you can ask Lady Markaby. She will tell you it is true. The scene that occurred happened after Lady Markaby left, and was forced on me by Gertrude's rudeness and sneers. I called, oh, a little out of malice if you like, but really to ask if a diamond brooch of mine had been found. That was the origin of the whole thing.
A diamond snake brooch with a ruby?
Yes. How did you know?
Because it is found. In point of fact, I found it myself and stupidly forgot to tell the butler anything about it as I was leaving. This is the brooch, isn't it?
Oh yes, I'm so glad to get it back. It was a present.
Won't you wear it?
Certainly, if you pin it in. Why do you put it on as a bracelet? I never knew it could be worn as a bracelet.
Really?
No, but it looks very well on me, doesn't it?
Yes, much better than when I saw it last.
And did you see it last?
Oh, 10 years ago, on Lady Berkshire. You stole it.
What do you mean?
I mean that you stole that ornament from my cousin, Mary Berkshire, to whom I gave it when she was married. Suspicion fell on a wretched servant who was sent away in disgrace. I recognized it last night and determined to say nothing about it till I have found the thief. I have found the thief now and have heard her own confession.
It is not true.
You know it is true. My thief is written across your face at this moment.
I will deny the whole affair from beginning to end. I will say I've never seen this wretched thing that was ever in my possession.
The drawback of stealing a thing, Mrs. Shelley, is that one never understands how wonderful the thing that one steals is. You can't get that bracelet off unless you know where the spring is, and I can see you don't know where the spring is. It is very difficult to find.
You brute, you coward!
Oh, don't use such big words. They mean so little.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to ring for my servant. He's an admirable servant. Always comes the moment one rings for him. When he comes, I shall tell him to fetch the police.
Police? What for?
Tomorrow the Berkshires will prosecute you. That is what the police are for.
Don't do that. I will do anything you want, anything in the world you want.
Give me Robert Chiltern's letter.
Stop. Let me have time to think.
Give it to me at once. This is it?
Yes.
So well dressed a woman, Mrs. Cheveley. You have moments of admirable common sense. I congratulate you.
Please get me a glass of water.
Certainly.
Thank you. Will you help me with my cloak?
With pleasure.
Thanks. I'm never going to harm Robert Chiltern again.
Unfortunately, you haven't the chance, Mrs. Cheveley.
Even if I had the chance, I wouldn't. On the contrary, I'm going to render him a great service.
Oh, I am charmed to hear it. It is a reformation.
I can't bear so upright a gentleman, so honourable an English gentleman, to be so wrongfully deceived and so...
Well,
I find that somehow Gertrude Chiltern's dying speech and confession has strayed into my pocket.
what do you mean?
I mean that I'm going to send Robert Chiltern a love letter that his wife wrote to you tonight.
Love letter?
I want you, I trust you, I'm coming to you, Gertrude.
You wretched woman, must you always be thieving? Give me that letter back at once. I shall take it from you by force if I have to. You shall not leave my room till I have got it.
Lord Goring merely rang for you to show me out. Good night, Lord Goring.